For the past few years, I've been trying my best to keep a low profile when it comes to family events. It's not that I hate my family or anything, but let's just say I've been unofficially labeled a disappointment for quite some time now. My name is Elisa, and I'll tell you a little bit about my life. I don't have a flashy job, I'm not married, I don't have kids, and I didn't go into law or medicine like my cousins. I mostly work in IT as a freelancer and like a quiet life. But for my Aunt Anna, the undisputed queen of the family image, silence is synonymous with failure. So when she leaned in through my window that afternoon and whispered, "Try not to embarrass us tonight," I just smiled, nodded, turned off the engine, got out of the car, walked to the back seat, and calmly grabbed the cake I'd ordered, the pile of birthday presents I'd carefully wrapped and bought with my own money, and perhaps most importantly, the key to the party venue I'd reserved weeks in advance. I got back in the car, closed the door, and drove away. The party was for my cousin Clara's 18th birthday, Aunt Anna's youngest daughter and the family's darling. A perfect fit, athletic, pretty, and always impeccably dressed. Clara was a real sweetheart, which made it all the more complicated. She asked me, not her mother, to help organize the party. She said she wanted something quiet, nothing too fancy, something that would be about her and not another one of those parties where Aunt Anna paraded around like a debutante. So I quietly took charge of everything. I reserved a space near the lake, bought her favorite cake from a local bakery, picked out gifts I knew she would love, and even printed out little Polaroids from her childhood to hang around the room. It was supposed to be a simple, beautiful evening, but the thing about Aunt Anna is that nothing is ever about anyone but her. When I told her last week that Clara wanted something more low-key, she gave a forced laugh and said, "Oh, Elisa, you don't have to hide her shyness, she'll love what I've planned." I should have been more insistent, but by now I was used to being run over. I didn't even know what exactly had been planned until the morning of the party, when I got a call from a completely confused caterer asking about the seating arrangements. That's when I found out Aunt Anna had taken matters into her own hands, hired an event planner, a photographer, a DJ, all of whom were already scheduled to appear at a completely different location, a fancy party venue on the other side of town. She had no idea that I had already paid the deposit for the lakefront space, or maybe she did and just didn't care. When I texted her to ask what was going on, she responded with an angel emoji and a "relax, I'm taking care of everything" with a smiling emoji, which was basically her code for "retreat, peasant." I told Clara, and she seemed disappointed but not surprised. She just said, "Go with what you planned. If it's just us and a few other people, that's fine. I just want to be with people who really understand me." That was the plan, or at least it was until I pulled up to Aunt Anna's house to help with transportation, because yes, I'm still the idiot who believed that maybe, just maybe, things could be salvaged. That's when she leaned out the car window wearing that gold-trimmed cardigan, gave me that fake smile, and whispered, "Try not to embarrass us tonight," as if I were an accessory, as if everything I'd done up until that point, the planning, the money, the effort, was simply worthless. That was the last straw. As I drove away with the cake, the presents, and the key to the real venue, my phone started buzzing with messages from my mom asking where I was. I didn't answer, just kept driving to the lakefront space, unlocked the space, and set it up exactly as Clara and I had planned. A softly lit photo wall, a playlist of her favorite songs playing in the background, a table full of personalized party favors. I poured myself a soda and sat on the edge of one of the chairs, waiting. 30 minutes passed, then an hour. Then I got a text from Clara, "Everyone's standing here, what happened?" My stomach turned. I called her, no one answered. Then I called my mom. She answered on the second ring. "Where are you?" she hissed, as if I had abandoned a battlefield. "Everyone's here, Clara's crying, and your aunt is furious." I swallowed hard. "I'm at the place Clara wanted, the one she asked me to go to." "What place?" she shouted, clearly shaken. "Everyone's at the Goldville party hall." But she didn't want Goldville. She told me she wanted something small. "I booked it weeks ago," she asked me to. There was a long pause on the other end of the line. "Well, but didn't you tell anyone that your aunt had made other plans?" I didn't answer, my voice lowering. She made plans for herself, not for Clara. I hung up, stared at the phone screen for a few minutes, watching the notifications pile up, a few messages from cousins asking if I was okay, one from Uncle Carlos asking if I'd changed my mind, and then finally a message from Clara, "Can I come over?" That was the message she sent me. I replied with the address of the real place. 15 minutes later, she walked through the door. Her makeup was smeared. Her dress looked stiff, like it had come straight out of a fashion magazine editorial. It wasn't her style. She kicked off her heels, pulled a pair of Converse sneakers from her bag, and slipped them on. Then she looked around the room and stood there in silence, just taking it all in. The cake, the lights, the music, the Polaroids of her real childhood, her real preferences reflected in every detail. "This is perfect," she said. I nodded, my throat tight. I'd never seen her cry before, but there were tears in her eyes. "My mom's going to be furious," she murmured. I laughed. Yeah, I figured this night was far from over. For now, Clara was there with me, barefoot, eating cake under the soft glow of the string lights. The rest of the family was still back at Goldville, and Aunt Anna was probably already lighting mental matches. I knew it was only a matter of time before the fire caught up with us. And sure enough, the first spark came 10 minutes later. A car screeched to a halt outside, then another. I went to the window and saw Aunt Anna with her cell phone pressed to her ear, her eyes scanning the room like a hawk. Clara froze beside me. "She's tracked my location," she whispered. I stood up. This was going to get messy, but I didn't regret anything, not yet. Not until Aunt Anna came through the door with a storm on her face that could tear a person apart. Behind her, shuffling, came my mother, my uncle, and a few other relatives, all with that look that said, "How dare you make a scene?" Even though up until that moment I hadn't made a scene at all. And then Aunt Anna spoke, and everything changed. She didn't start with a scream. It would have been too easy to scream. It would have been too obvious to scream. Aunt Anna was the silent tyrant type, the kind who smiles with her teeth but not with her eyes. She walked in, her perfectly manicured hands clasped in front of her purse, and said in a voice that sounded like butter that had been left out of the fridge for too long, "There you are." I didn't answer, just stood between her and Clara. "Is this where you've been?" she asked, turning to Clara. "Sneaking out in the middle of your own party? Is that part of the plan too?" Her eyes scanned the room. The hand-lettered banners, the carefully pressed tablecloth, the Polaroids of Clara riding a tricycle or dressed as a carrot for Halloween. The photos made her hesitate for a second, but she was soon back in character. "You had guests waiting, Clara. Important people, sponsors of your gym." "I didn't invite them," Clara said quietly. "You did. And what must those people think when the birthday girl disappears out of nowhere?" Clara looked down, and I could feel her wilting beside me. I stepped forward before she had a chance to apologize for her own birthday. "She didn't disappear," I said. "She just came to the party she really wanted to." That cracked the mask for an instant, Aunt Anna's jaw clenching. "Excuse me, this?" She gestured widely around the room. "This was the plan all along. Clara told me what she wanted. She didn't want to be the center of a corporate event. She just wanted a birthday." Behind her, Uncle Carlos muttered, "Elisa, now is not the time." "No," I said. "This is exactly the time." That was when her smile stopped. "You little hypocrite," she growled, her voice dropping. "Do you have any idea what you've done? I had suppliers, Elisa, contracts, RSVPs, a sushi bar, a live string quartet. I had to give deposits back." "She didn't want a sushi bar," I snapped. "She wanted a chocolate cake with pink frosting and pictures with her cat. That's it. That's what she asked for, but you weren't listening." I saw my mother in the back, eyes wide, clutching her purse as if she could take off at any moment. A few cousins were standing near the door, unsure of what to do. One of them, of course, had already started filming. Clara stepped forward. "I told you I didn't want something grand, Mom." Aunt Anna turned to her in a second. "You said that, but you didn't mean it. You're shy, Clara. You don't know what's best for you sometimes, and that's okay. I make the decisions. You make the decisions for yourself." Clara snapped, her voice shaking, but she didn't back down. "You wanted that party. You wanted the photographer. You wanted everyone to see the perfect version of me." The silence that followed hit like a slap, and for a moment it felt like Anna had been punched in the stomach, but she still tried to keep control. She took a deep breath and turned to me again. "You've been jealous of this family since you were a teenager. You could never stand to see us do anything right." In that moment, I wanted to say a million things. That it wasn't jealousy. That I was just tired. tired of being ignored, ridiculed, treated like a failure at every Thanksgiving table since I was too young to realize that no amount of college would fix the feeling of not belonging, that I had spent my own money, my time, my energy, my heart to do something real for Clara, not because I wanted attention, but because she deserved it. But I didn't say anything, just looked at Clara. She stared back at me and then turned back to the living room, still half filled with shadows and silent relatives in the doorway. "I'm staying here," she said. "You're not going?" Aunt Anna snapped. "We have a schedule." "No, you do," Clara said, her voice firm now. "I'm 18, remember? Adult and all, to everyone you've posted online with 3 exclamation points." My mother gasped. Someone stifled a laugh and Aunt Anna took a step towards Clara, but Clara moved to my side and it was there, that moment, like the click of a lock, the line drawn in the sand. I felt that tingling in my chest that you get when the underdog starts to fight back. "I tried to let you have your way," Clara continued. "I wore the dress, I smiled, I was nice, but you still managed to make my birthday about you." She took a deep breath. "So yes, I left, and honestly, it was the first time in years that I've been able to breathe." Aunt Anna froze, shaking, not with sadness but with fury, the kind of fury that comes when a person loses control of the narrative. "You think this is freedom?" she hissed. "This is delusion. You're throwing away everything I've built for you, everything I've sacrificed. And for what?" "For him." She pointed at me like I was a pest. Clara simply replied, "He listened to me," which is more than I can say for anyone else. Silence again, thick, sticky, the kind of silence where you can almost hear the buzz of the string lights hanging from the ceiling. Then Aunt Anna let out a dry laugh, short as a bark. "You're going to regret this, both of you." She turned and stomped away. Some relatives followed. Others stood there, frozen, unsure of whose side they were on. My mother lingered a moment longer, then sighed, shook her head, and left too, muttering something about family drama. And then it was just the two of us again, Clara and I, in a room full of real memories, raw, imperfect, but real. She sat down next to me and picked up a cake fork. "She's going to be tough on you. You know that, right?" I nodded. "Are you ready for this?" I looked at her and, for the first time in years, I truly felt like I might be. I am now. But I had no idea how far Aunt Anna would go to make sure I regretted every second of it. Clara didn't stay long after that, maybe half an hour. Long enough for us to finish a few slices of cake, play her favorite indie songs on the speakers, and light those sparkler candles I'd saved just in case she wanted to record a video of herself blowing them out. She walked out laughing, with frosting on her nose, and posted it on her story with the caption, "A real party. No filter, no posing on stage." In the photo, she was sitting cross-legged on the floor, wearing mismatched socks and my sweatshirt that she found in the trunk. After she left, the place was silent, very silent. I slowly cleaned up, taking the Polaroids out one by one, putting them back in the envelope. My phone started blowing up again, messages, notifications, but I ignored them. I knew there would be consequences. I just didn't expect them to come so quickly, so publicly. When I got home, my inbox was already full. Direct messages, tagged posts, even a Facebook message from my cousin Lucas. "Dude, you're being canceled by your own family." It turns out that Anna wasn't going to let the night end in silence. She had decided to burn everything. She posted a furious text on public social media saying that I had kidnapped her daughter on her own birthday, sabotaged a carefully planned professional event, and even manipulated her emotionally at a moment of vulnerability. She painted me as the bitter, unstable black sheep who had alienated Clara from her family and used nostalgia as a weapon to turn her daughter against her own mother. Her post had photos of the banquet hall, empty chairs, untouched food, and her next to the DJ with an expression as if she had just received terrible news. It received hundreds of likes, reactions, and shares. Some parents in the community who knew her by sight commented sympathetically. One person wrote, "What a tragedy. I would be devastated if they did this to my daughter." She even went so far as to tag my professional profile, saying that I wasn't emotionally stable enough to lead community technology projects. That hurt. My freelance work was small, true, but I had worked hard to earn the trust of clients, and that kind of reputation, once tarnished, spreads like wildfire. I read the post over and over again, and each time I read it, my chest tightened more and more. It wasn't just that she was lying, it was how easily she did it, how she could completely distort the facts, position herself as the victim, and still sound convincing. For a moment, I thought about letting it go, riding the wave, letting time pass, people forget, right? But then I got a message from Clara. She broke into my room, took my phone, my laptop, lectured me, told me that I'm not emotionally stable enough to make my own decisions, and a second later, she was trying to kick me out of my exercise program. "Until you get your act together," she said. It was like being punched in the gut. This wasn't just about me anymore. She was now punishing Clara for daring to think for herself. The next morning, I woke up to even more messages. But what really got me was seeing that my mom, of all people, had shared Aunt Anna's post with a passive-aggressive comment. "I always said Ryan needed help." My uncle liked it, and a few cousins commented on those vague sentences. It's so sad when families turn on each other. No one asked me what really happened, except for one person. Allison, one of Clara's old nannies who used to be around when we were younger. She messaged me via the post. "This doesn't sound like you. What's the real story?" I sent her the photos, the real ones, of the cake, the decorations. Clara was laughing. I was soft, happy. Then I sent her screenshots of Clara asking me to come over, of her thanking me and saying she didn't want to be there. Allison responded with one sentence, "Let me help." I didn't know what she meant at first, but 2 hours later she posted a very different story on her page, with public tags and receipts. She wrote about how Aunt Anna had always micromanaged Clara's life, how she used guilt and control disguised as concern, how she once pulled Clara out of a school play because her costume wasn't appropriate, how everything was always about appearances and not people. Allison insinuated that Aunt Anna had tried to get her fired from her old babysitting job when she let Clara eat pizza for dinner instead of grilled salmon. She included screenshots of messages Clara had sent her months ago, venting about her mother. Allison saved these messages when she started to worry. The story broke. People started commenting, asking questions. Then others joined in. An old friend, a retired teacher, even a neighbor. One by one, people started sharing stories, little things. But when you piled them up, they painted a very different picture. Aunt Anna tried to fight back, of course, claiming it was all fake. But the tide was turning. I wish I could say that was the end. But really, it was just the beginning. 2 days later, I got an email. Not from a family member, but from a lawyer. It wasn't from me, it was from her. Aunt Anna apparently wasn't just angry now. She wanted to sue me. I didn't panic when I saw the lawyer's name in my inbox. My stomach dropped, sure, but after everything Aunt Anna had already thrown at me, this seemed inevitable. She wasn't trying to embarrass me anymore. She wanted to ruin me. And if I learned anything from this, it was that people like her won't stop until they're forced to. The cease and desist letter was full of legal pomp, threatening defamation charges for publicly disparaging the character of a respected community figure and orchestrating an event designed to undermine parental authority. Her lawyer demanded that I issue a public apology, remove anything referencing the party, and pay $10,000 in reputational damages. That's when something in me snapped. I'd spent years ignoring things, playing it cool, avoiding fights, letting people rewrite my story because it was easier than being a problem. But I looked at that letter and realized for the first time how much I'd let her shape my life, even in silence. So I fought back. I didn't hire a lawyer. I became one, not literally, but close enough. I spent the next 48 hours reading everything I could about defamation law, especially in our state. I contacted a friend of a friend, a police officer, who explained the basics to me. Then I drafted my own letter, not mean-spirited, not emotional, just truthful and thorough. I went through every allegation in the cease and desist letter and responded with receipts, screenshots, timestamps, and statements from people who witnessed the night. I explained how her post falsely accused me of criminal behavior, including kidnapping, which was slanderous and actionable. I ended the letter by clearly stating, if she does not retract her public allegations and delete the post within 72 hours, I will file a lawsuit for defamation, harassment, and damage to my professional reputation. I sent the copy to her attorney and sent it through a certified email tracker. The post disappeared the next morning, but I wasn't done. For now, she was busy playing queen on her crumbling throne, unaware of how many people had turned against her. The board of the local gym where she'd pulled strings to freeze Clara's membership was inundated with complaints, screenshots of Clara's posts, public backlash, even a quiet statement from Clara herself shared in a private Facebook group for teenage athletes explaining how her mother had tried to silence her for wanting to be herself. For one night, the board unanimously reinstated her. They also cut ties with Aunt Anna as a sponsor. Then came the photographer. It turned out he didn't like being tricked either. They'd told him Clara would be walking into a staged coming-of-age photo shoot, not ambushed at a fake party she'd already made clear she didn't want to be at. He released a post of his own, nothing dramatic, just a polite clarification. Respecting a young woman's boundaries should always come before press coverage. Her social media influence was destroyed. Sponsors dropped. Friends drifted away. People remembered it all. The little moments, the micromanagement, the guilt, the side comments, and I began to see a pattern. But the real victory came a few weeks later, when Clara moved out. She had been quietly saving money with a part-time job here, a few babysitting gigs there, with a little help from Allison and a scholarship counselor. She had secured a place in a shared apartment near her college campus. She sent me a photo the day she moved in, standing in a small kitchen, smiling next to a box of mismatched mugs. The caption read, "Thank you for helping me get here." Aunt Anna tried to talk her out of it, saying Clara had been brainwashed and was running away, but no one believed her anymore. The mask had cracked long ago. As for me, I didn't recede into the background. I got new freelance jobs, some bigger ones, thanks to people who admired how I stood up for myself. Some clients had seen the drama and really respected how I handled it, saying it showed integrity, and one even called me a professional. The best part was that at the next family gathering, my cousin Lucas's wedding, I walked in with my head held high, no whispers, no strange looks, and Anna didn't say a word. Just looked away, her cheeks tight, while I hugged Clara and handed her a small framed copy of her birthday photo with glitter. We didn't have to say anything, she smiled, tucked the photo under her arm and whispered, "Do you know she still thinks you ruined her party?" I smiled and said, "I didn't ruin it, I saved the real one." And for the first time, I didn't feel like the family's disappointment. I felt like the one who finally did something. What did you think of Elisa's story? Would you act like her? Leave your opinion in the comments. Like this video and subscribe to see more family dramas like this.